Nice. Good evening and welcome to the regular city council meeting. Today is Tuesday, March 4th, 2025. Let it be known that all members of the council are present with the exception of council member Alvarado. He had a family emergency to attend to this evening. With that said, I'm going to ask our Richland, as you can see, Richland Junior High ASB is with us this evening. I'm going to ask our Richland Junior High president, Alexa. See, because I want to use an I in there. There's no I. Alexa Aguilar, she's going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. And then Councilmember Espinoza will lead us in the invocation. Just remain standing through the whole thing. Good? Everyone good? Flag that way.
Salute pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Remain standing.
Thank you, Lord, for this special guest with us tonight, Lord Father God. Be with us as a council, Lord. Help us, give us wisdom and insight in the decisions that we make for our city. We give you the praise and honor and glory through Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. All right. Everyone gets fingers. Are we good? Very good. With that being said, looking for any amendments to the meeting. I believe we are pulling item number 2 for closed session. Yes, sir?
That's correct.
Okay. Item number 2 is going to be removed for closed session. What do I say, removed or pulled? Pulled. We're going to say pulled. It's going to be pulled for closed session. Any other adjustments?
No other adjustments.
Okay, no other adjustments. I need a motion and a second for the approval of the amended agenda, removing and pulling item number 2 from closed session, which is the conference with legal counsel for significant exposure to litigation.
I'll make the motion. I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion by, who motioned it? You did?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion by Mayor Pro Tem Olvera, second by Councilmember Espinoza. Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Prout,
Yes.
Olvera,
Yes.
Espinoza,
Yes.
and Given.
Yes. Okay. With that said, we have one item for presentation tonight. It is the American Red Cross Month proclamation. And so I'm going to ask you guys to come up with us. And our ASB president is going to join us today too. So we're going to head that way. Okay. I don't smash fingers. You're going to have to go first though. Y'all think I'm small, man. It's not. Right down that way. All right, this is the American Red Cross Month for March of 2025. And whereas Clara Barton founded the American Red Cross over a century ago, and since then the American Red Cross has been at the forefront of providing relief and care to Americans, delivering support across our country and around the world, showcasing the best of humanity in times of crisis. And whereas advancing this noble mission, the volunteers and supporters who now give back through the American Red Cross, Kern County and Eastern Sierra chapter remain unwavering in their commitment to prevent and alleviate human suffering in the face of today's emergencies. And whereas in 2024, the Boreal Fire burned areas surrounding the community of Lake Isabella, where Red Cross volunteers responded immediately to establish safe shelters at Ridgefront and Tehachapi, welcoming families and neighborhoods displaced. Really bad fire. Whereas their voluntary and generous contributions shine a beacon of hope in people's darkest hours, delivering shelter, food, and comfort during disasters, providing critical blood donations for hospital patients, supporting service members, veterans, and their families, saving lives with first aid, CPR, AED, and other skills, or delivering international aid and reconnecting loved ones separated by global crisis. And whereas this work to uplift our community is truly made possible by those who selflessly answer the call to help whenever and wherever. Now, therefore, be resolved that I, Chad Gibbons, Mayor of the City of Shafter, do hereby proclaim the month of March 2025 as Red Cross Month. I'm going to let you hear it. All right. So I'm going to hit it and take a photo. From the state council, RJH, we're going to take a photo. He works for Dragons. Hey, 10 piece or 20 piece, what are we talking about, man? 20, all right, we got the 20 piece guy. So here's how the game's gonna work. Hold on, here's how the game's gonna work. He's almost here. Go ahead, Pete.
All right, Pete.
You know what you're doing.
Okay, let's see, front row, front row, front row. You guys come up there in the front row.
On the bottom.
Scoot over. Okay, come on down. On down, okay, think down, tilt your shoulders in. Okay, right here at center, so you guys tilt your shoulders in, all right. You guys wanna hold the proclamation in front? Yes, girl.
I'm gonna get that man a 20 piece nugget. That is awesome. Thank you guys very much. All right.
Thank you.
I know, bro, it's bad, I'm trying.
You're back, filling it in.
We're almost there.
Okay, no worries. No worries.
Good? All right, Hector.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council. Thank you, everyone, City of Shafter. As you know, my name is Hector Vasquez. I'm the Executive Director for the American Red Cross in the Kern and Eastern Sierra chapter. It is a pleasure to be here with you guys tonight and accept this proclamation. In 1943, President Franklin D. Roosevelt was the first president that made March Red Cross Month. He understood the mission, and every president since then has proclaimed March as Red Cross Month. And it gives us an opportunity to showcase the work that our great volunteers do. Here in the city of Shafter, you know, we hear about the big Red Cross, the National Red Cross, which we're part of. In January, I was in LA for 3 weeks, assisting and helping with people that lost a lot of homes down in these wildfires. And it was a very terrifying, something that I've never seen. I've seen all kinds of disasters, never seen anything like this in a metropolitan city like LA. And our volunteers from Kern County, 33 of them went and stepped up and donated their time to go down there and help. But here in the city of Shafter in our chapter, we're always assisting folks with our own personal disasters, and a lot of them have to do with single family home fires. Just in this year, we've assisted with 2 fires here in Shafter. Both of them happened in the wee evening, like one, I think it was at 1 a.m. The other one was like around 11 p.m. And our disaster action team comes out, provides assistance to the families. We put them in hotels if we need to. We give them a little financial aid. We give them any assistance that we can, and then we open up a case to start some case management. So we're always asking for new volunteers to come and join us in this great work that we're doing. Another thing is our blood. We're always looking to partner up with different blood banks. Right, the Red Cross has a National Blood Giving Month, and we don't have a blood center here, but we always encourage everyone that blood is necessary at all costs. So please go to your local blood bank. Houchin usually does a lot of blood drives, so please, I encourage all of you guys to do that. And we're always looking for our Latino and Hispanic community. And right now we're in a little discrepancy with, we don't have enough Hispanic and Spanish speakers volunteers. So if you guys want to help us and join us, please promote what we can do. We have high school groups all around the city of Bakersfield and Kern County. Always looking to start a new club. It is important. I see a lot of youth, and that gives me so much pride. Like, I'm so proud of that because I've been in the nonprofit world for over 17 years. And if it wasn't for my parents teaching me the importance of giving back, I would have never understood that and the mission that it comes with that. So it's always great to give back. Some of you guys met my son. You know,
Yeah. Chicken nugget, man. I love it.
yeah, that's someone that I'm really proud of, and I always encourage them to always give back. I also I brought a board member, and I want to introduce you guys to Dion Young. She is the news director down in Bakersfield for Eyewitness News. So here you go, Dion.
Thank you very much. I just wanted to echo what Hector has already said. Thank you so much, especially to our volunteers. Thank you for acknowledging the work that the Red Cross is doing in our community. It is very important work, and while everything that they do internationally and nationally is very important, there is a lot of work, local work that is done here by volunteers. And as a board member, we do our best to support them, but everything we do is the foundational from volunteers. And if there are anyone interested in joining our board, you're more than welcome to reach out to Hector or myself. We're always looking for more, just like Hector already said. So I don't want to be too repetitive.
No, absolutely. And we just, this past February, we had our Sound the Alarm in Bakersfield. A couple years ago, we were actually here in the city of Shafter. We did a Sound the Alarm where we go and we install free smoke alarms for the community. Smoke alarms are extremely important, and it's one way to alleviate any type of future suffering with a home fire. We want to make sure that everyone is prepared at their homes. But one thing that a lot of folks don't know, may not be aware, is that we have an on-demand team. So if you guys ever need a smoke alarm, you know somebody that needs a smoke alarm, they can simply call our chapter office, and we'll schedule that and have some of our volunteers come out and install smoke alarms for free, no cost to any of them.
Very cool.
Thank you again.
Thank you guys very much for coming out tonight. Much appreciated. Much appreciated.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. With that said, there are no other presentations for this evening. At this time, we're going to move into our public comment session. Are you ready for that? I'll let you know. All right, here we go. Public comment is for any person wishing to speak on any item included on the agenda or within the subject matter jurisdiction of the city council. Speakers are invited to speak from the podium and address the city council. Speakers are limited to 5 minutes unless other time is needed for translation. Please state your name and address for the record. 2 hits. Public comment time is open. She's got this down. She's going to do well. Any public comment? All right. Seeing none. Anything online? Okay, seeing none, hearing none. With that, public comment time is closed. Got 2 more. Look at you go. All right. We're going to move into our council announcements and reports. Councilmember Espinoza, I'm going to start with you this evening.
On the 27th, I attended the annual Chamber Awards banquet, and it was a fun night with a lot of nice attendance and a nice dinner. On the 28th, I attended a meeting at the Shafter Library and Learning Center David was a part of. And when I went back to Washington, D.C. for the inauguration, I ran across the mayor of McFarland, Saul Ayon, and he had 2 guests with him. And one of them was a superintendent. And he started asking me a bunch of questions about our library. And I told him, I said, well, what I need to do is I need to get you connected with the person who has the answers. So we spent a couple hours that morning. David showed a slide presentation, and then we took a walk over to the library, and they were very, very impressed. And they're looking to get some ideas for their library in McFarland. So I'm hoping that they got a lot of information, and it was very helpful. And David, I'd like to say thank you for your part in that. Played a big part in that. On Monday, the 3rd, I attended the police dispatcher oath of office ceremony for Monica Tomlinson. And I'd like to welcome her aboard. And this morning, I went on a ride along with Sergeant Eric Diaz, and we ended up at what is it? Redwood? No, it's Golden Oaks.
Golden Oak. Yeah.
We ended up at Golden Oaks, and we were reading to the kids and all that, and they were all just a ball of joy to watch. There was probably about 17, 18, and we made it to like 3 or 4 different classes, and it was just a joy to see them enjoying that. And I love seeing the police officers. They were out in force today. They were reading to the kids in the classes, so I really enjoyed that. And that's all I have.
Very good. Councilmember Prout.
Okay, I started out on the 20th of February through the 23rd with the Colors event that many people in the community participated in. And I wanted to especially note the fact that Community Chest did the kickoff with a spaghetti dinner. And we really did quite well on it. We had good response from the community, and we we should do very well on the revenue part of it. I also went to the fun run. I didn't run and I didn't walk, but I was out there and it was a beautiful day. We had a huge turnout of people from young ones to older ones. Some walked, some ran, and they had color thrown on them, which could be fun. If you haven't tried it, I guess we should. Then I also went to Canned Art, and Canned Art is still open at the Depot Museum. And it's really unique what they've done there. It's comes from the French background, but people could submit something that relates to a phrase or a slogan. And you see it made up with cans, and then the cans are donated to the pantry at the high school that they give out to families. Then meet the children's author, and here's where it was held at the library, and we had lots of little children that came in, and the author was from Bakersfield. She told about the story, why she started her story, and she picked up an animal from the shelter and ended up writing several books about this dog that she has. I even took it today. I took 3 of them to read to our Read Across America at the school. Very well received. I mean, I couldn't share with her the author and how she got to writing this story, but then also the illustrator that was a friend of hers that did the drawings, and they're really pretty unique. And the dog is called Indy, Indy, oh, Indy. And it's really pretty cool. And I was glad I attended that. Cornhole tournament. I mean, there was something for everybody, which was fun and held outside at the Ford Theater. Also had the drama presentation from the high school that did a 15-minute show from The Outsider, which I thought was very well done. And then the dance presentation, which the program or the listing of events didn't show that it was folkloric, and I think a lot of us here are familiar with that dance. They, most of them were not from Shafter itself, but came from Bakersfield and Delano. They were excellent. And Gilbert was there, so he could have backed it up. I mean, he definitely saw their presentation. It was, and I thought about you too, Yasmina, because it really was. It was really very nice. Well attended. And the art gallery was held downtown in the Veterans Hall, and there were artists of different ages there and different types of art. So there was something that appealed to just about anybody if you spent time to go see it. And then that evening they had Meet the Artists, and they had a wine tasting and finger foods that people could go around and enjoy while they were touring around. So when we do this again next year, maybe we can get the crowd even larger. Okay, then I also attended the Chamber Awards. All of us were there. There were 6 different people that were receiving recognition for community service, the business revitalization, and maybe I should say who they are of the 6. The business revitalization was Nelson Salinas, because they just improved the building and have 3 different businesses in it, and it's right downtown behind Bank of America. Community Service Award went to the Shafter Women's Club, who donated an awful lot of time in the mentoring program at the high school and scored very well. Health Award went to a Shafter High teacher named Kelly Borrego. She wasn't present, but is working the alcohol abuse.
Yeah, she's the one in charge of Dreams Over Drugs.
Yeah, and mental health too. Education Award went to Jorge Maldonado. He's from the high school also, and he's been there for 27 years already. Young Person of the Year was Andrea Cuevas, a sharp gal. Scores very well academically, but well-rounded student. And the Citizen of the Year was a local lady, Priscilla Neufeld, and told about all the activities that she's participated in. So that was a nice event, as Pete said too. It was really nicely done. The dispatch oath of office, as you heard, was Monica Tomlinson, and she had her family here with her. First time to be a dispatcher, but you could tell she's going to catch on very quickly. I also wanted to mention there's going to be a World Bipolar Day, and I know Gilbert's been approached about it as well as myself, and it's going to be held in Wasco. And it's on March the 30th, which is a Sunday, and it'll run from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. And so they're asking that we participate, and I mean, their little brochure deals are coming out, and publicity will come out. They're getting sponsors. and promoting mental health, which the high school even has a club that's started already with these same idea for Bipolar Day, and it goes into the mental health awareness. So something to watch for. That's all I have.
Very good. I think Gilbert is one of the co-chairs for that
David.
event, so
Mhm.
good to have him. He is connected to, and I don't remember the gentleman's name from Wasco, but yeah, they have co-authored that,
Well,
which is really,
Veronica, the chapter
which is-
president, is really hitting it up. Mhm.
a few additional items. Happy to report out that we are not in probation for water. The State Water Board is continuing their slamming of the gavel down, but they were gracious enough to us and our local water districts and all the work that has been put together between Mike and Chris and the whole team. And so they pushed off probation for us a little bit further, so that was good. We were there, or I was Zooming, I guess I would say, that would be the 20th. So good to see that moving outside of the area. GPAC has started up. GPAC is our general plan advisory committee. And so the general plan, this is like the largest nutshell I can imagine at this point. And the simplest way of looking at it is what we do with land. And we more or less kind of lay a foundation that says land could look like this one day and have these zones associated with it. That doesn't mean it's like that today or tomorrow, but it gives us a baseline of what that could happen. So it's a fairly lengthy process, just about 2 years in totality. And so that first meeting has started this last week, and a ton of good communication out of it. Really happy to see the response from everybody. Color seemed like it was really good. I know we did the worship night the other day, and so that was a good event to be a part of. I know I'm missing something, so I apologize if I'm missing some things. The only other item, they have released Shafter Condors Night. That is April 11th, so make sure you get tickets for that. They are honoring Shafter. It is Shafter's night, so we're hoping to get the place flooded with Shafter. Shafter normally shows up pretty well to stuff, so we definitely want to get that place flooded. And then lots of prayers for our girls who are down in, man, I'm going to mess it up. I think it's El Camino Real, who are playing basketball tonight at Shafter High School. They are in the Division III state playoff games. So lots going on. First Fridays is, thank you for reminding me, First Fridays is this Friday. David, I'm putting you on the spot. I'm so sorry. They still have room for people to sign up? So on this one, there's still a little room for some folks who have canceled if we have anyone available for it. That is happening this Friday. Lots of good food. Farmers Market, La Rancha, if I'm correct, is going to be doing, okay, they're going to be doing the music. So it'll be an exciting night. I'm probably sure I butchered that some way, somehow, but it is what it is. We'll go from there. All right, with that being said, I'm going to do one last thing.
I got something.
Oh, yeah, please.
So I just wanted to invite the community on Friday, March 7th, from 11 to 2, free car seat check event.
Yes.
Assemblywoman Jasmeet Baines' office will be sponsoring that. So if you're available, stop by and get your car seat checked out. That's it.
One last thing, since we're doing this, I'm going to start, you want me to start that way or that way? You ready? You're ready. Okay. I want these young, it is just young ladies. Okay. I want these young ladies to introduce themselves, where they're from, what you do. Give us a little background, your name, start at the very end.
My name is Jackie Reese, and I go to RJH. And
What do you do for, why are you up here with us?
because I'm part of the student council,
What do you do for student council?
I'm the treasurer, so I keep track of all like the money and the accounts and stuff like that.
So when you guys want to take like a cool trip, that's cool. Cool. I like it. All right, Jackie, good to have you here.
My name's
Is your microphone on?
It is. It is.
My name's Melanie Carrillo. I'm currently the vice president, and I also go to RJH.
Vice president. What does the vice president do?
I basically pitch in when the president's absent, or I give my feedback on things that the president needs me to.
All right. Very cool. Very cool. Do it like that.
I'm Natalie Alvarez, and I'm secretary.
What does the secretary do?
I keep track of stuff.
Keep track of stuff. Okay. Important stuff?
Yeah.
Okay. Have you lost anything?
No.
No. Do you have a sibling?
Yeah.
Have you lost them?
No.
Okay, you're good. You're good for the job. Young lady?
So your name?
My name is Alexa Aguilar and I am the president here at RJH. And basically what I do is I make decisions for the student body to make sure there's events and students engaged in the school.
Okay. Does Mr. Cantu give you a gavel?
Yes, we come up with ideas that we could present to Mr. Cantu and like.
But you have a big gavel to hit?
Oh, no.
So you can ask Mr. Cantu for a gavel?
You're gonna order?
Mr. Cantu's now asking, Ms. Romero for a gavel. Gotta have a gavel, right? All right, see, she agrees. They made that decision right here.
Hi, my name is Isabella Reyes. I'm PBIS liaison, and
PBIS?
Yeah.
Explain.
it's like this app where it helps students who get good behavior. It helps them keep track of how good their behavior is by teachers rewarding them.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Can I get on it?
Yeah.
No? I can sponsor. See, if y'all don't know me by now, you gotta know I put people on the spot. Mr. Cantu, will you do me a favor and enlighten everybody on what a student ASB does for your campus? You're good at this stuff, that's why I'm asking, but from the mic.
Well, it's not so much for me, it's for themselves. The idea is for them to get the experience of leadership. And so they get an opportunity to go through an election process. That way they can elect them from their own peers who they want to lead their student body. And it's a great experience for them as well because they get to learn how to work as a team, how different people have their different roles and how to support each other in their different roles. And so I guess that would be the greatest part. And then the other thing is, they get to see the fruits of their decisions, the fruits of their labor as the president and their team make a decision, they vote on it. They have a bank account that they can expense and help pay for things, the trips and yes. And so it allows them to learn that part of leadership and knowing just like the city council, how to manage that budget, how to manage that account in a way that will move their year forward in the way they want it to happen. So a lot of responsibility, a lot of things that they have to keep in mind as they make decisions, because everyone's depending on them to make our campus an amazing campus, which it is, and they're going to make it even better.
Very nice, very nice. Thank you for doing that.
Yes, and we'll welcome a sponsorship.
I like
We have
it.
a
Shameless
store.
plug. I love it. Did you guys get to go on the trip to Sacramento? Anybody here? No?
Yeah.
Oh, that was Shafter High. I know, you're looking at me like I'm crazy. So make sure if you haven't already signed up, make sure you guys get connected to it. That's a lot of fun. Mr. Franz here does an amazing job of getting people around and connected to it. So very excited. Yeah, that's what she was just saying. They're yelling at me on the side. They may not yell loudly, but they're on the side. They're in the back. They're yelling like, Mr. Givens, you're doing this wrong. I know. Very good. Thank you, ladies, for joining us today. Very excited to have you here. If you have questions, ask questions. We like the input. Okay, we're going to move on. This evening, we have 14 items on our consent calendar. I'm going to do a brief read through of these items. Item number 1 is to approve general checks. Number 2 is to approve payroll. Number 3, approve the overtime report. Number 4, approval of minutes. Number 5, approve the special event permit with the Hens Roost for First Friday and Shafter Farmer Market Downtown Square, March 7th. And the next one will be April 4th. Number 6 is to approve the purchase of 2 2025 Ford Police utility vehicles for a total cost not to exceed $171,233. Number 7, approve a change order in the amount of $83,975.25 for the purchase of 3 dispatch station radio consolettes. Number 8, approve 1 cost proposal submitted by Learn Design Apply Incorporated, dated February 13th, 2025, totaling $22,500. Number 9, approve the renewal of the DocuSign electronic signature subscription in the amount of $11,468. Number 10, accept plug-in hybrid electric vehicle bids publicly opened by staff on February 14th, 2025.
of one plug-in hybrid electric vehicle for an amount up to $44,000 and file one funding voucher application for $20,000 in grant funds through the San Joaquin Valley Air Pollution Control District Public Benefit Grants Program. Number 12, approve an agreement for the completion of public improvements with Lennar Homes California LLC for Track 7244 Phase 2. Number 13, approve an agreement for the completion of public improvements with LGI Homes, Track 6614 Phase 1. They moved really quickly through that, I must say. They moved really quickly on that one. That's the Beach and Tulare Homes. Number 14, approve the final map for track number 7244 Phase 2. Questions, comments, or concerns, council? Otherwise, I'm going to look for a motion in a second, please.
Motion.
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion by Councilmember Espinoza, second by Mayor Pro Tem Olvera. Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Prout,
Yes.
Olvera,
Yes.
Espinoza,
Yes.
and Givens.
Yes. That's why we call for a roll call vote. So you don't just get to hide back like, I didn't say nothing. That's why we do it. Okay. Okay, so you're gonna get to hit the gavel a couple more times. Are you ready? Okay, I'll let you know when. Okay, we have two items on our public hearings. Item number one is the unmet transit needs for fiscal year 2025, 2026. All right, I was like, I don't know who's coming up. All right.
So through the chair of the Mayor Givens and the City Council, good evening. My name is Rocio Mosqueda. I am the County Supervisor of Federal Grants and Capital Projects for the Finance Department. I assist Rogelio Sanchez, Administrative Services Director, to oversee and manage the operations of the Transit Division, along with our staff member, Luz Nieto, who's the lead transit driver and also in the audience joining us today. We are here to present the fiscal year 25-26 unmet transit needs hearing agenda item, and it's up, so. So we're going to be providing a little bit of background on the funding and the unmet transit needs and exactly what it's all about. So TDA, which is the Transportation Development Act, has two major funding sources: the Local Transportation Fund, which is known as LTF, and the State Transit Assistance Fund, which is known as STAF. The LTF is derived from the 1/4 cent of general sales tax, and the STAF is derived from sales tax on diesel fuel and are already allocated by the state legislature. The next step is then it gets distributed to the counties based on the proportion of population. And then it gets distributed to the cities also based on population. And they get their population numbers from the Department of Finance that get an estimate comes out every May of every year. And then we have to hold an annual unmet transit need hearings to determine if there's any unmet transit needs that aren't being met, that need to be met, before we allocate some of this funding to street roads and projects. So the majority of the funding is primarily for transit. And then once we make the determination that those needs are met, then the rest of the funding can be used for the streets division. So I'd like to, before we get into the opening of the public hearing, I'd like to have a brief discussion of what we're currently working on and what we're currently dealing with the public transit operations. There's a couple of things that are in place. I'm just going to bring them up really quick and then just go through them. So we have a Saturday service that's being funded through the Low Carbon Transit Operations Program known as LC-TOP. And we got around 53K. And we're at the second year of that funding. So that's something that we can reapply for, a grant that we can reapply for and have that type of service. We also are going to be doing a transit survey to kind of get feedback from the community and see how satisfied they are with our transportation services as well. And we are in the process of having communication with the wonderful industrial park as far as what are their needs, transportation needs over there for all of the residents, not the residents, but the distribution centers that are housed over there for their employees, to see if there's any way that we can accommodate or develop some type of route based on the demand for transportation. We also will be implementing a free fares program that we applied for, LC-TOP. We're holding off a little bit on getting that implemented until we get our dedicated transit dispatch, because currently, right now, our staff is receiving the calls as they're coming in. Well, we're gonna have a dedicated dispatch who's gonna take the calls and distribute the calls to each of the drivers. So that's gonna be a change that we're gonna do. But we wanted to get that implemented before we offer the free fares, because I'm hearing that once we do that, it's gonna go crazy and our demand for transportation is gonna go up. So the other, lastly, we do have SB 125 funding that was put out. And I'm gonna just say the word, the letters of the acronym, because I don't want to butcher the acronym, but it's TIRCP, where we qualify for about 2.08 million, and the Zero Emissions Transit Capital Program, ZETCP, of 0.30. Of course, it's subject to state funding, state budget, so it could get modified, but that these are dedicated for capital projects primarily. And a little bit of the funding's allocated for the operations. So when we're discussing transit needs, and you want to say for service, operations, these two particular funding sources is only for capital. So it'd be replacing fleet, adding a dedicated transit maintenance facility, for example. Those are the type of services that would be added. And next, I'm going to be going over our historical fare box. As you can see, we're in 24-25, where we're projecting to be at 47,478. And it looks like we're on our way getting back to pre-COVID numbers. So we're well on our way. We're hoping that with this free fare transit program, we'll be hitting it pretty soon, because I feel that the demand will be there. And next, I would like to cover the fare box as a percentage of the operating expenses. So on the light gray on the bottom represents the labor cost. The darker gray represents the maintenance and operations. And the total operating cost is the little dots on each of them. We do have a fare box ratio that we need to meet, which is 10%. Right now, currently, we're projecting 8.5. And we're okay with that. For this year and next year, I believe they have deferred the meeting of the 10% fare box revenue, so we're not in jeopardy of losing any funding or anything like that. It gives us a little bit of time to also apply additional services or the demand for it to go up to where the revenue will match the 10% allocation. So we should be okay with that. And that pretty much concludes my staff report. I recommend that we open the public hearing to receive oral comments concerning the unmet transit needs and approve and adopt the resolution 3008 upon the comments received.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much for that. As said, this is a public hearing, so at this time, we are going to open up the public hearing for unmet transit needs for fiscal year 2025 and 2026. Yeah, she's got this down. Okay. Hearing none, seeing none. With that, we're going to close the public hearing. I'm enjoying this. I just want to say that right now, enjoying this. All right, council, any questions, comments, or concerns?
I had one. How many vans are we running right now?
We currently have a total of 2 big buses and 4 vans. And we're running around 3 at a time.
At a time?
Mm-hmm.
And then they're called to a location, right? They're not running set routes?
So there's only 2 areas that we go in town to pick up at certain locations. Actually 3. Smith's Corners, Mexican Colony, and the county area, I believe.
Cherokee Springs.
And that's pretty much it. The rest, everything else is demand response.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions? Okay, with that said, I'm looking for a motion in a second to adopt resolution 3008, please.
I so move.
No second.
Okay, I have a motion by Councilmember Proud, a second by Mayor Pro Tem Olvera. Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Prout,
Yes.
Alvarado. I'm sorry, Olvera,
Yes.
Espinoza,
Yes.
and Given.
Yes, if it helps you to know, I've done that way more than one time. Yeah, that one messes me up. We have one other item on public hearings. Item number 2 is the amendment number 1 to development agreement number 2321. Kind sir?
Yes, Honorable Mayor, Council, and guests. Yeah, this item is amendment number 1 to development agreement number 23-1 for revised tentative track map, number 7244, the Marcona Preserve Specific Plan Area. Go ahead and next slide, please. So just to give you a sense, there's the 7244 is the Marcona Specific Plan Area, and then there is also another track that is currently being processed, 7483, which was the former school site that was approved to be used instead for another tract of homes. Go ahead and go to the next one, please. So Development Agreement 23-21 was recorded in April of last year between the city and Lennar Homes of California. The development agreement guides the development of tract number 7244. After approval of the development agreement, the owner of tract 7483, Franmar Company LP, reached out to set staff to inform us that when the development agreement was recorded, the legal description inadvertently included the property for tract 7483, or the previous school site. Therefore, their grant deed for the property that encompasses that new tract currently has an entry stating that the property must comply with Development Agreement 23-21, which is incorrect and was inadvertently added to that development agreement. The purpose of this item is to correct this error by replacing the current legal description in the development agreement with a new legal description that excludes 7483. Tentative track map 7483 will have to undergo its own development agreement as a condition of approval. And the Planning Commission and Council will have an opportunity at that time to determine whether to approve or deny that future development agreement. Last month, the Planning Commission recommended approval of this amendment number 1 to your council. And so with that, go ahead and go to the next slide, please. Staff recommends that you conduct hearing and then introduce for first reading by title only and waive reading of ordinance number 763 and ordinance approving amendment number 1 to development agreement 23-21. And with that, I can answer any questions you may have.
Thank you very much. Ready again? So this is a public hearing for amendment number 1 to development agreement number 23-21. We are opening public hearing at this time. Okay. Questions? Nothing. Hearing none, seeing none. We're going to go ahead and close public hearing. Council, questions, comments, or concerns? Hearing none, seeing none. I need a motion and a second to move, please.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Olvera, second by Councilmember Espinoza. Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Prout,
Yes.
Olvera,
Yes.
Espinosa,
Yes.
and Givens.
Yes, very good. Thank you, sir. That will conclude our public hearing items. We have 2 items on our management report. Item number 1 for management report is the fiscal year 2024-2025 mid-year budget update, sir.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council members. I'm Roger Sanchez, your finance director. So I'd like to give a brief update on the current budget status for the current fiscal year. All right, so we do have some mid-year budget adjustments. We're not requesting any new items. Management, I know the chief of police wanted a helicopter, but decided not to. So there's really no pending request at this point. However, we do have some budget adjustments to reflect some projections, some revised revenues, and if we think about, we estimated the revenues, we were exceeding some of the revenues, and I'll show you some examples. Also, on the CIP projects, we have multi-years, so some of the money hits on the previous year, the current year, and the next year, so we're making adjustments to to reflect how much we're spending this year.
Very good.
Also, as you can see, we also have spent money from PD, employee retirements, and that's why we're moving those monies. We're making those minor adjustments throughout. We also have, we provide a treasury report on a monthly basis. It's not very useful, I don't think, because it just gives the cash, a list of cash and investments. And so, the previous, a few years ago, they used to provide budget to actual reports, and because we have a new system, now we're ready to get a new report. We included a new report in this example. And I got some feedback from the mayor, Mr. Givens, and I welcome if you have any feedback from any other council members, if you would like to see any changes to that report. The report is included. I'll give some examples here in a few minutes. So as to how to read that information. We'll be going over some examples on citywide information, also on each different funds, enterprise funds, special revenues, and internal service. They're all included on the final report that is attached. So as I provided some examples to Mr. Mayor, he picked some ones that I really like this format. I hope that serves, it's good information for you guys. Now, what the goal is to include this as part of the treasury report, to have an update on a monthly basis. And that way you can see what's going on with the budget throughout the year. And that's the goal. And if you, hopefully you like the report, and if not, I'll welcome some feedback throughout. So on the citywide, this provides information on the citywide. Notice on the first column, the first two columns, it has the revised budget and then the year-to-date actual. So on the labor cost, as an example, notice that we spent year-to-date $12 million, but the total budget for citywide on labor costs is $21.2 million. That's because we haven't finished the year, so that's the reason. So far, we spent, that's the third column, we spent about 56% of the labor cost for year-to-date. Now, that's below, if you think about how much the burn rate to this month is about 65%, we're 56% on that. The primary reason is because we have unspent money on police. That's one of the biggest reasons. We have some vacancies, and so that would explain that. Now, the next column is the prior year, year-to-date, and what that does, we can compare the current year-to-date versus the prior year-to-date. That is for the same period for the month of February. How much have we spent this year versus how much we spent the previous year for the same period? So there, in the current year, again, we have $12 million, but the year before, as an example, on the labor cost, we spent $10.3 million. That is an increase of $1.5 million compared to the previous year. So as you can see, you can look into the plant operations. That includes supplies, consultants, training and travel, things to run the operations. The utilities is really the water and electricity and all those things. The internal charges, excuse me, that is, that has to do with overhead cost and from IT and insurance costs and those kinds of things. Debt, there's some minor adjustments at the year end. It's not necessarily that we have any debt. We don't have any debt, but there are just year-end adjustments. And the special agreements relates to the sales tax. So that's what we have, the format so far. Now, the year-to-date change, it gives a dollar amount, but next to it, it also gives a year-to-date percent change. How much did we change from current year to the prior year in percentage-wise? Again, as an example, on the labor cost, it reflects a $1.6 million or 15.5% increase compared to the previous year. The last column has a compound annual growth rate, and that gives a long-term view of what's happening. If you think about this, you can think it in your head as inflation. What's the inflation rate? Well, as an example, on the labor cost, over a 6-year period, we have a growth rate of 7.1%. The red represents is kind of a little bit hot. The yellow is okay, and the green is good news on the expenses. Everything on the revenue side is black, but just wanted to point out that the red represents that is on a high growth, which is something somewhat negative. The next is a citywide labor cost, because it's such a big component of our city operations. It's the same format, except that the labor cost by department. So you can see each department, the budget versus actual, the percent year-to-date, and again, we can compare the actual year-to-date from prior year and the change. You can also see on the last column the growth rate on each department as it relates to the labor cost. Again, if it's okay with you, we'll be providing this report updates on a monthly basis. Now, on the general fund, this is a lot more meaningful instead of the citywide, because this focuses on the general fund. And then the report, the full report, includes a report for water fund, sewer, refuse, special revenues, and all those other funds. It has all those reports on the attach. But this is as an illustration purposes, so you can read that. You can see the top section is the revenues. You can see the property tax, sales tax, franchise, licenses, permits, and so on, for a total revenue budget of 40.6 million versus the year-to-date receipts of 18.7 million. So again, you can kind of see what is the growth, the big growth. On the property tax, that's a blessing of 11.4% over a 6-year period. And the franchise fees has a 22% increase or growth, over the same period. Now, this is the reason why we have mid-year adjustments. If you notice on the licenses and permits, we already surpassed the actual receipts compared to the budget. So that's why we make those adjustments. We're getting more money than we anticipated. And so that's an example. The bottom section on the general fund includes the labor costs by category. As an example, the labor costs, plant operations, utilities, and so on and so forth. If we compare the revenues to the operating expenses, then we can see if we have an operating income or a surplus or a loss. Is the same thing. Now, it's worth pointing out that the sales tax, notice that the sales tax on the top section, it has a decrease compared to the previous year, over $1 million decrease over the same period. That represents over 11% decrease the same time that we've collected revenues. And there's a story behind it. This is the initial projection when we did the budget last year. This is from March 2024. That was the projection back then from the consultants. And notice this is the most recent projection for the sales taxes. This includes everything, including the Williams-Sonoma. So there's a sharp decrease anticipated for the upcoming year and a few years into the future for the sales taxes. Again, the initial projection compared to the most recent projection on the sales tax component. For the public's benefits, this is an educational, really brief. I'll try to be brief here. What is the difference between a general fund surplus or deficit versus the reserves or savings? There's a difference. So the general fund surplus refers to what happens in 1 year. It's like your personal budget. And where the city brings more money than it spends, then that represents a surplus in that year. If it spends more than it brings, it represents a deficit for 1 year. The fund balance or reserve, on the other hand, is more like a savings account. So where it accumulates year over year. So on a summary, what it means, a surplus or deficit is the annual profit or loss. This is this year's results versus the fund balance. Reserve is more of the savings, what has accumulated over many years. This is an example of actual information that I'm going to provide here, and I'm almost done. So this is the fiscal year 22-23. Notice the revenues, 40.3 million. Expenditures, this is actual results for that year. If you subtract the expenses, then you can get a net surplus that we had of $8.1 million surplus from the general fund. Now, that's a surplus. In the next fiscal year, that's the one that we're closing. By the way, we're going to present that information on the next council meeting, hopefully. We're estimating a surplus as we're closing the books of $10.6 million surplus. That's a big chunk increase. So that's the difference. Now, this is the fund balance. From the year 21-22, we had a fund balance of $59 million for the general fund. Now, if you include the 22-23, the fund balance grows. Now, if you include the next fiscal year, the one that we're closing, it grows even bigger to, instead of when we started at $59.2 million, we're estimated at $78 million. So that's the difference, is the surplus versus the savings. Now, our job in the administration is to make sure that we keep, that we don't, that, you know, the ongoing operation should not exceed the operating revenues, because if it does, it's going to steal from the savings to cover our deficit. That's what happens. So we have to be careful with that. So again, this is how it grows. It moves from the 1 year's operations into our savings. And again, the reserves is more for one-time purchases. It could be for, you know, the PD substation, for a park, for other projects. And as I mentioned, the deficit must draw from the reserves fund balance. The long-term success is to have a balanced budget for most years in order to be healthy. So with that, if you have any questions.
Council, questions, comments, concerns?
Thank you, Roger, for that report. It's very clear. Thank you for the recommendation. So it's good.
He's got more reports than anybody else I know.
No.
And he's chock full of information. So it's, if you ever get a chance, you know, get a hold of Lance and set up time with him. Roger, you are impeccably wise when you're dealing with numbers. And you're subliminally, what's the word I want to use, coy in how you decide to throw that helicopter comment in there. I didn't see that coming from you. Very nice. So no helicopter, sir. No, so no helicopter. That's not going to happen.
We got another drone, didn't we?
Real quick, just for my edification, looking to the attorney, it is approve a minute order authorizing. Do we need to do an approving? I thought this was just a receive and file, so please confirm on agenda before we move on. Sorry. Very good reporting, though.
Thank you.
I like the clarity out of it.
I'm asking for a minute order so that I can show to the auditors that the adjustments that we're making to reflect the revised projections, they're authorized by the council.
There you go. Yep. All right. So the motion would be to approve for the amended order. More or less, it's approve a minute order authorizing the finance director to amend the fiscal year 2024-2025 budget on specific request as outlined in the report. And I need a motion and a second to carry, please.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Olvera, second by Councilmember Espinoza. Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Prout,
Yes.
Olvera,
Yes.
Espinoza,
Yes.
and Gibbon.
Yes. Once again, thank you very much, sir. I
Thank you.
appreciate that. Last item on the management report is the ordinance amending city council salary and benefits provision. Hi, Carol.
Hello,
How are you?
good, how are you?
I feel like I haven't seen you in forever.
I know.
All right.
Well, good evening, Honorable Mayor and council members of the Shafter City Council. Before you tonight, we have ordinance 764, which seeks to amend section 2.04.120 of the Shafter Municipal Code to revise city council's salary and benefits provisions. The ordinance aligns council salaries with the newly enacted Senate Bill 329 and considers the introduction of health benefits and retirement benefits. The proposed amendments include a salary increase to $950 per month for all council members, which that would begin on in December of 2026, and health benefits for council members and eligible dependents effective the first day of the month following the approval and adoption of the ordinance. Currently, retirement benefits are not available based on the contract with CalPERS, which currently excludes elected officials from membership eligibility. If the council would like to pursue this benefit, then we would have to request an amendment with CalPERS on that contract, which would take approximately 6 to 8 months to proceed with that. The fiscal impact on the increased salary expenses is an additional $43,800 annually, prorated for fiscal year 26-27. The health benefit cost is approximately $109,300 annually. The prorated amount for this fiscal year would be over $27,000, and retirement benefits are to be determined depending on the contract with CalPERS once we pursue that. Staff recommends for the City Council to waive further reading, read by title only, and introduce ordinance 764, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Shafter, amending section 2.04.120 of the Shafter Municipal Code relating to City Council salary and benefits, and provide direction concerning the pursuit of an amendment with the contract with CalPERS. I'm available for any questions.
Okay, very good. Questions, comments, or concerns, council? Okay, hearing none, can we amend or remove the CalPERS? Because the way I read the agenda report, it's there. Can we have that not there?
That's a question for the city attorney.
Let's see.
Yeah, if I'm reading the report, it shows it there, so I'd like it to not be if we can.
Well, the ordinance.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, the ordinance makes it at your option, and it does say subject to amendment. So you're looking at subsection F.
Right, so it's there.
So it's
Can we
there,
just-
but
can
it
we-
says subject to amendment. So as long as there's no amendment, you're not going to get retirement benefits.
Okay, that's what I want to make sure of.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to make sure that.
But it sets it up in case in the future, you wanted to. If you wanted to absolutely remove it, you would remove the first sentence of subsection F.
And it's a subsection F in its entirety?
Just the first sentence. So the subsection F would start with the mayor and council members shall be eligible to receive the same health insurance benefits provided to these general employees.
If we approve, if we approve an amended agenda, if we approve an amended action, we're just striking first sentence of F.
So you would strike the first sentence to remove the ability to even in the future look for or look at retirement benefits through a CalPERS contract amendment.
Okay, thank you.
So the only thing you would be eligible for would be the health benefits.
Okay. Councilmember Prout, I think you said you had a comment.
Yes, before we have a motion, I had some comments about my feelings on doing the stipend as well as in the benefits. I believe that in our council, we are not a full-time position. We are all elected and equally ranked. I also believe that we aren't near the population total that's allowed by the law that just was passed this last year. I also believe that we receive expenses already that cover whenever we attend events, room and board, as well as travel and any other incident expenses that come up, and we do receive $300 plus $200, and I don't see us at this time getting advanced stipends. And I believe that it's most important to understand that we are elected and served to serve our community. And to warrant that large amount of stipend, to me, is excessive. And I believe we can still recruit talent in our community to run for council without having to offer such a huge amount. So my feeling is that I'm not in favor of this event.
Okay, very good. Any other questions or comments, council? All right, with that said, if hearing none and seeing none, I'm going to look for a motion and a second on the item.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Did that motion
I'm sorry.
include the strikeout of?
I was just gonna, thank you. I'm just looking at my notes and I just, are you guys okay removing that first sentence of section F from the ordinance in regards to the CalPERS?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm making the motion to approve amended ordinance to remove first sentence out of section F. Thank you. Do I have a second on that?
Second.
Thank you. Okay, I have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Olvera, second by Councilmember Espinoza. Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Prout,
No.
Olvera,
Yes.
Espinoza,
Yes.
and Givens.
Yes, thank you.
So just to be clear, the direction you would like for me to pursue amending the contract with CalPERS?
No.
Okay. Okay.
Sorry, we
Sorry.
did that quickly. I apologize.
Remove the authority entirely from
Okay,
the code.
so
So
removing
there's,
that,
even
okay.
if we wanted to, we couldn't pursue that.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, with that being said, those are the last of the management report items. You're almost done, I promise. Last of the management report items for the evening, the city manager comments and reports, sir.
Yes, April 15th, there is a council meeting. We currently have no matters scheduled for it, and there is some potential construction going on in this building. So we will be reaching out to test the appetite to close.
Okay.
that day.
That was city manager comments. Are there department director comments and reports?
Nothing from department directors.
Okay, very good. With that being said, we're going to move into recess. We have closed session. There are two items, folks. Remember, item number 2 was pulled. There are 2 items on closed session. Item number 1 is the conference with legal counsel for an existing litigation. Item number 3, which is our only second one, is a conference with real property negotiators. With that said, I need a motion and a second to move us into closed session.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
I have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Olvera, second by Councilmember Prout. All those in favor with aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Same sign opposed. Hearing none. Hit it. We are in closed session, 7:08 PM. Good evening and welcome back from our closed session. I'm going to look to our city attorney to lead us out, sir.
Thank you, Mayor. Earlier tonight, the City Council recessed into closed session. All members were present except for Councilmember Alvarado, who has an excused absence. There were 2 items on the agenda. Item 2 was not discussed. With respect to item 1, conference with legal counsel, existing litigation, City Council heard a brief update on that matter, and there's no reportable action. With item 3, conference with real property negotiators concerning the properties listed by APN 482-200-76. City Council heard a presentation from its negotiating team concerning price and terms for sale of that property. And there is no reportable action on that. City Council provided direction. That concludes the report.
All right, with that said, there are nothing left for the docket for this evening. I need a motion and a second to adjourn, please.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Olvera, second by Councilmember Espinoza. All those in favor with dismissal